Cold moves in tonight. Snow moves in on Wednesday into Thursday. It's an alert period.
The massive vaccine distribution campaign now underway in the U.S. A bit of hope for a nation gripped by pandemic.
A major step forward in ending the pandemic as the first doses of vaccine arrive in Pennsylvania.
State leaders talk today about what it'll look like getting the vaccine here in Pennsylvania.
Coverage you can count on continues. This is WGAL News 8 at 6.
Right now, the News 8 storm team is tracking a major winter storm taking aim at us for a Wednesday hit. Good evening, I'm Janelle Stelson.
I'm Susan Shapiro. The midweek storm could dump more than a foot of snow in the Susquehanna Valley.
Storm team chief meteorologist Joe Calhoun has the latest track and totals.
Yeah, Janelle and Susan, I think that's what the bottom line is. Prepare for a foot of snow. Today was wet, but this one's certainly going to be a heavy, wet snow going into Wednesday. There's this morning's moisture moving out to sea. This is what we're watching. See, kind of a broad circulation back over the plain or over the Rockies and the Four Corners. That has not really developed yet, but it's going to go back into the southeast, pick up Gulf moisture, and then bring it up the coast. Yeah, it's a nor'easter coming our way. In the meantime, there goes that system. We're starting to see the skies break, and that'll allow temperatures to drop tonight. In the meantime, there is a winter storm watch. Conditions are there for a winter storm, 6 or more inches of snow, and that would come probably during the night Wednesday, most of that snow. The watch is in effect from Wednesday morning into Thursday morning. So again, I'm looking at the heaviest amounts, I-81, 78 line north and west. That's typical for some of these storms, but still double-digit snows even down toward Route 30. Could be some mixture toward the Mason-Dixon line. Plan on a foot, though, as you go north and west of Harrisburg. The timing, again, will come, as we think, during the day on Thursday or Wednesday, and on Thursday morning, 6 to 10, 10 to 16. Looks like a pretty good bet, but those amounts could go up. Power outages and difficult travel certainly going to come with this storm. So wherever you got to, get there by Wednesday afternoon, because Thursday night or Wednesday night into Thursday morning going to be tough to get around.
All right, thank you, Joe. Stay with News 8 tonight and tomorrow for the latest on the storm's track. And if you've not yet done so, this is probably a good time to download the WGAL app or keep an eye on WGAL.com. That way you can get the most up-to-date forecast ahead of this storm anytime.
The pandemic death toll has topped 300,000, but there is hope tonight. Hundreds of thousands of vials of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine are being distributed and administered in all 50 states. And as Sally Kidd reports from Washington, those on the front lines are the first in line.
Operation Warp Speed officials say what we're seeing today is the initial push and the start of a continuous drumbeat of vaccine delivery. An unprecedented vaccination operation is underway nationwide. Critical care workers among the first to receive a first dose of the coronavirus vaccine. Vials of vaccine packed in dry ice arriving at hospitals across the country.
At 95% efficacy, this vaccine is extraordinarily effective at protecting you from this virus.
This is only the first round. 2.9 million doses this week shipped by air and ground from Pfizer's factory in Michigan.
There is not one part of this country that's not being touched today through Wednesday. Everybody is receiving fair and equitable distribution of the vaccine.
And Operation Warp Speed officials say that flow to each state will continue at a constant cadence as vaccine becomes available, with the hope of administering shots to everyone who wants them by late spring of next year.
Unless the large majority of us gets vaccinated, we will not be able to control this pandemic.
Dr. Anthony Fauci cautioning there is still much work to be done.
The only way you're going to get this pandemic under control is if we all pull together as a country and not in different directions as a divided nation.
And Operation Warp Speed officials say Tuesday's shipments of vaccine delivery have already been packed and checked. And on Thursday, the FDA will decide whether to greenlight a second vaccine made by Moderna. Reporting from Washington, I'm Sally Kidd.
Well, the first doses of the vaccine arrived in Pennsylvania this morning and were administered to healthcare workers. WGAL News 8's Barbara Barr reports on this big step forward in the attempt to end the pandemic.
Here we go. A nurse administered the first doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine to healthcare workers at UPMC Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh.
This is truly a momentous occasion.
The magnitude of the moment was apparent. The arrival of the vaccine is being hailed as the beginning of the end of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It is unprecedented how fast and how broad the vaccine efforts have been.
The first shipment arrived at the hospital by UPS in the morning, 975 doses. It's voluntary. The first employees to roll up their sleeves describe their emotions and reasoning for being part of this breakthrough.
My heart was pounding. It was pounding more last night. I couldn't sleep. I'm very honored to at UPMC for letting me do this.
I am getting this vaccine so that I can further protect myself and pretty much everyone around me.
To be able to protect my family. I have two beautiful young girls, my husband, my parents who I can't see who are in Boston, Massachusetts.
UPMC hopes to receive shipments of vaccine for its other hospitals, including those in the Susquehanna Valley, in the next week or so. In Lancaster County, Barbara Barr, WGAL News 8.
Governor Wolf and Secretary of Health Dr. Rachel Levine talked about the state's plan to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine as the first injections were being administered. News 8's Meredith Jorgensen reports.
Pennsylvania is receiving almost 100,000 doses of the COVID vaccine this week. News Dr. Rachel Levine calls tremendously exciting. But she and Governor Wolf say now is not the time to let our guard down.
It's going to be months before we get to the point where enough people have been vaccinated that makes a big difference.
While Governor Wolf is striking a tone of caution, Dr. Rachel Levine acknowledges today's breakthrough.
Today is an important day as we look towards the future.
83 hospitals throughout the state are receiving direct shipments of the vaccine from Pfizer this week, a total of 97,500 doses. Social distancing through the holidays, though, the governor says, is a must.
I think people are seriously concerned about gathering together.
The 3 phases prioritize high-risk people first.
And it could be months. It might be spring into summer before we have enough vaccine received from the pharmaceutical companies to immunize the general public.
For a detailed breakdown of the 3-phase plan, you can visit the Department of Health's website, which I've linked to my Facebook page. For WGAL News 8, I'm Meredith Jorgensen.
Here are the latest coronavirus numbers from the State Health Department. There are 7,962 new cases today, putting Pennsylvania near the 500,000 cases mark. Remember, there are about 13 million Pennsylvanians, and there were 55 more deaths. In the Susquehanna Valley, York County spiked with 445 new cases, Lancaster 215, 214 in Dauphin County, Cumberland 138, Lebanon 113. Franklin County had 85 new cases, Adams 78, Mifflin 45, Perry 29, and 26 more in Juniata County.
3 young people are dead after a crash involving a horse and buggy and trash truck in Lancaster County. State police say the truck hit the horse and buggy around 8 o'clock this morning after the buggy went to a stop sign at Little Britain Road North and Black Road. The Lancaster County coroner confirms that 2 girls and 1 boy died at the scene. They were in the buggy. 4 other juveniles were taken to the hospital. It's not clear whether the children were related. The truck driver stayed on the scene and is cooperating with state police.
The PennDOT is preparing for what could be a busy week if we get all the snow the storm team thinks is headed for us. News 8's Tom Lehman reports on what PennDOT is and is not doing ahead of the storm.
These snowplows have not been needed in a while, but that could soon change.
It's kind of like a practice run for us.
Fritzy Schreffler with PennDOT says crews will be spending Tuesday getting ready for what could be a lot of snow on area roadways. So much snow that Schreffler says roads are not being pre-treated.
Especially if we're going to get inches and inches and inches of snow, it really would not be very helpful.
One positive is that there is plenty of salt on hand for this week's snowstorm. PennDOT said it just did not use a lot of salt last year, and because of that, well, as you can see, there is plenty available. Schreffler says you should keep off the roads when the snow starts falling.
It's usually the rush hours that are the worst time for us because it's the most number of vehicles on the road. And if you get stuck in traffic, we're stuck in traffic along with you.
Trepler notes the number of people working from home might help keep people off the roads. In Harrisburg, Tom Lehman, WGAL News 8.
Coming up next.
Presidential electors gathering around the country to certify election results. I'm Matt Pritchard in Washington with a look at the Electoral College process.
After months of unrest in Lancaster City, the police department's newest top cop weighs in on how he hopes to bring the police department and the community closer together.